Good morning, Christ Church. We were in 1 Samuel, but we're bouncing back to Judges. And I want to take a few minutes just to talk about the person of Samson. We know him as a strong person. We see him and we hear about him in Sunday school. But there's a lot we can learn from this very, very flawed man. We read about this in Judges 13 to 16. One of the big lessons we learn from Samson is that despite our flaws, despite our shortcomings, God can use us, and he wants to use us. Samson was a very flawed man. He had anger issues, had a bit of a temper. We know relationally he got involved with a lot of people, and that generally led to some rather problematic situations. We see him killing a lot of people, and in the end, even though he is captured and he is blind, he still becomes a vessel that God can use. Now, God doesn't tell us that we should accept our shortcomings. If we think about in John, the woman that was caught in adultery, Jesus says to her, "Go and sin no more." And if we have shortcomings, we should work on them. And we should try to become better people, become more like Christ. But we should never let our shortcomings determine what God can and can't do through us. Let's allow God to use us despite our shortcomings. The truth is, the church continues to be God's vessel that is used in the world today, despite all its shortcomings. Aren't we thankful for God's grace? We might say to ourselves, maybe if the standards were lower, we'd all succeed. Maybe somehow we should change the rules, and then we won't have these flaws, and we could all become perfect. But the truth is, our imperfections, speak of God's grace in our lives. When we are weak, he is strong. When we find ourselves in situations where we don't measure up, Jesus does measure up. When we feel that we're imperfect, we're all imperfect, we continue to be imperfect, Jesus is our perfection. We just need to surrender and allow God to work in us and to work through us. Let me ask you a question. How is God using you today? Maybe God is using you here at Christ Church, maybe beyond the borders of Christ Church. Despite our imperfections, no matter what we're going through, God can still use us. Let me ask you this. Are you looking at yourself right now and wondering, can God use me? Are you waiting to become more perfect or more holy? God could use Samson. He did use Samson. God wants to use you. Are you involved? Are you allowing God to work in you and through you? Maybe you should take some time and reflect on where you can get involved. Maybe it's something small in the life of the church. Maybe someplace in the community. God wants to work in us. God wants to work through us, despite our shortcomings. I pray you will find a place where you can be the hands, the feet, the voice, and most importantly, the heart of God in this world today. God bless you.